my bag, yeah, I'm setting it. In it for a buy, yeah, forgetting it. Kilo on strong, yeah, I'm repping it. Take profit on, yeah, but let it hit. Yeah, paid to wait, gotta take a breath. Not gonna look, cause it's straight debt. Turning off my phone, gotta eject. Yeah, taking all the cash, yeah, there's nothing left. Yeah, I'm on the mode. Yeah, chairman's a go. Yeah, student straight killers. Hey, these markets like gold. Yeah, we getting haters. They hate that we winning. Set it, got forget. Yeah, see these foreigns we renting. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, set it, take profit. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, set it, take profit. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Yeah, take profit. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, take profit. Pippin', I'm pippin', no stopping me. Set it, forget it, a lot of green. Into my pockets, I'm profiting. This is a better way, gotta be. Riding in foreign, dollar speed. Louis and Gucci, got what I need. Wrists on froze, TP a breeze. Dealer, I bleed. Just when I breathe. Wake up, push the trade in the AM. When I think hard, I just turn off the screen. If I ain't in profit yet, I gotta stop. Said, well, you know what I mean. Every little inch it moves, kinda change the mood, so I don't wanna see. Gotta set it and forget it till it hits TV. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, take profit. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, take profit. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Yeah, take profit. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, take profit.
We're the nation. We don't have nothing to prove. Slaying these markets, you can join it too. All about the freedom. Nothing on earth we can lose. Set it and forget it. Yeah, move.
Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, set it, take profit. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, set it, take profit. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Yeah, take profit. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, forget it. Set it, take profit.
Seen a milli, I got motivated. Seen a milli, I got motivated. Quit my 9 to 5 and now they hating. Used to see all their faces. I had to go make some changes. And now I'm elevated. I seen a milli, I got motivated. Seen a milli, I got motivated. Quit my 9 to 5 and now they hating. Used to see all their faces. I had to go make some changes. And now I'm elevated. Expensive dinners, I'm tipping on waiters. I'm sipping champagne with no special occasion. I just took a trade from Tyrone and Abel. The team we got big, so now we celebrate. Took a trip to Miami, I'm riding in Forex. Up at 4 in the morning, I'm stretching, I'm yawning. Kitchen pips in the morning, you probably was snoring. Every trip with the team, it be lit and we know it.
We be lit and we know it. Made a couple milli, I'll show it. Motivated and growing. Funding my milli account so it won't blow it. Yeah, all they watch is 2 candles. 100 racks is 2 hands.
Yes.
Turn it up, the fire, no handles. Blessing my whole team's bankroll.
I seen a milli, I got motivated. Seen a milli, I got motivated.
Yes. What's going on, family? What's up, guys? What is up? What is going on? Welcome to this week's weekly overview. It's going to be a phenomenal week in the markets this week, family. I can already tell that it's going to be a great freaking week. Hopefully you guys are excited for this up and coming week. Hopefully you guys have your trading accounts prepared, especially all of you guys in part of the premium family. It's going to be a crazy week this week in part of the premium. I promise you that. The gang is back together as well, man. So it's going to be a very, very, very dope week for us today, or this week, family. And I'm excited to be here with every single one of y'all. All right, I'm extremely excited to be here with every single one of you guys as well, right? So let me go ahead and turn this music off one time. Let me make sure my hair looks good. I'm over here looking nuts. Let me make sure, double check how I look, family. I look good. I look all right. I need a haircut. I need an edge up. Talk to me, man. How y'all feeling in the chat? How y'all feeling, family? All right, let's see what we got in the building today. Let's see. Tammy, what's going on? Tammy, Michael, what's up? George from Australia, what's going on? George, Wally, what's good, bro? Keanu in the building. Kosi, Roy, what's going on? North Carolina, stand up. My brother George in the house. Tony, my guy Tony, stand up. I appreciate you, my brother. What's going on? Shout out to you for tuning in as well. We got Tyson in the house. We got Juan in the house. Let's get it. Eric, my guy. What's going on, brother? Is Gum Clan still on the gold shore? I don't know. I don't think we'll ever talk to him again, to be honest with y'all. All right, because who knows? I mean, Gum Clan might be on the call right now. I might have to ask him, but I don't know. All right, but let's see, man. We'll go over all that in a second as well. Let's see. Sup, able live and direct from Melbourne, Australia. Let's go. Public holiday. Shout out to you guys out there in Australia. Definitely appreciate y'all. Orlando's heavy in the building. Houston is heavy in the building. Alana, what's up? BTC Mommy, how are you doing? Appreciate you. Alessandra in the building from Rhode Island. I see you. Jay Hustle. Get the duffel. Stacking paper and he makes it ruffle. I see you, man. What's going on, Jay? I appreciate you, bro, as well. Ibrahim, what is up? What is up, man? Appreciate you guys for tuning in, family, and I'm excited for this week once again, because I think it's gonna be a freaking interesting week. In fact, when I go over the news, you guys are gonna see how interesting of a week it truly is going to be this week, family. So I hope you guys are prepared for that, man. But let's go ahead and get right into this. And let's get right into the actual news for the week, man, and see what we have on the radar that can absolutely influence these markets, guys. So for right now, the only thing we don't have nothing for today. We don't have anything for Monday, at least nothing major, no red, no level 3 of importance if we use this actual calendar. We don't have anything on tonight or tomorrow, right? So on Tuesday, though, on Tuesday is when it starts to get crazy. Why? Because on Tuesday, for the pound itself, we have average earnings, then we have the climate count change. But most importantly, family, the thing that truly is going to be extremely interesting for this week is going to be CPI. All right, we do have CPI releasing this week, family. Go ahead and drop a 3 in the chat for CPI, man, because this is the big boy event, man. This is the one news event that a lot of the central banks are focusing on, right? And not just central banks, but a lot of investors and traders are focusing on CPI data, guys, because CPI is the one thing that we are trying to get under control. Remember, the central banks, at least the Fed, they have two main objectives: to have a super tight labor market and to have stable prices. With inflation, or CPI, being where it's at, we still do not have stable prices because we're seeing the price of goods and services fluctuating every single reading. So stable prices is definitely what we're trying to get under control, but we're not just trying to get it under control at 6%, which is where CPI is currently at, 6.4%. We're trying to get it under control and leave it around that 2% level. So not only do we still don't have stable prices, guys, but we're still very far away from where our goal actually is of that 2% CPI level, guys. So again, this week is going to be very interesting, especially on Tuesday when this news release comes out, because it's going to tell us if all the things that the Fed has been doing so far, which raising interest rates has been like the one tool that they've been using heavily to try to control supply and demand, we're going to see if it's actually been working, right? Obviously, we have been seeing CPI drop for the past few months, but we're going to see if it's going to continue to trend in the lower direction. So as of right now, family, the rumors from a year-to-year perspective is to see it go from 6.4% down to 6%. From a month-to-month perspective, is to see it go from 0.5% down to 0.4%, right? And core CPI, they're expecting that to pretty much stay the same. So now, however, how this, no matter, or depending on how this comes out, it's going to influence, guys, the trades that we are going to be trading this week. Okay, so that is definitely going to be something we have to be very, very mindful of going into this week, that on Tuesday, we're starting off with a bang with CPI numbers getting released. Okay, now let's see what we got here on Wednesday, family. So we do got core retail sales for the dollar. We have PPI for the dollar as well. We have regular retail sales as well. So Wednesday is also going to have a lot of major news from the U.S. We do have GDP coming out for the New Zealand dollar as well later on throughout the night, and we have the employment change for the Aussie. Again, all of these news events, guys, can absolutely affect and influence, right, the actual currency attached to the actual news release itself. So we have to be mindful of that. Now going into Thursday, what do we have? Initial jobless claims is definitely one I'm going to be paying attention to. We have the deposit facility rate for the euro, right? We have the monetary policy statement, and we also have the interest rate, the overall interest rate decision for the euro as well, guys, right? So the euro on Thursday is going to be extremely volatile as well, right? And it's going to be interesting to see what they actually end up doing with the interest rate as a whole, you know, because we've seen a lot of central banks, guys, like we've seen the Bank of Australia, or was it, I believe it's the Bank of Canada actually, who actually paused rates, right? Like they literally paused rates this past weekend. And then we have the U.S., right? The Federal Reserve that has been raising, you know, interest rates by only 25 basis points, right? But we still have the ECB that's still planning on raising it a whole 50 basis point. Now, granted, their inflation, or their CPI, which we'll also get a reading for on Friday, is still very high. You know, they're at 8.5% CPI. Right, so that's why they're probably a lot more aggressive than other central banks as of right now, right? So this is going to be interesting, guys. It's going to be a very, very volatile week, at least to end the week off for the euro, which is also going to influence the US dollar tremendously, right? So it's going to be a crazy week, man, with CPI for the dollar, with CPI for the euro, with retail sales, PPI for the dollar, and also having the interest rate decisions for the euro all throughout this week, man. So it's gonna be a good one for this week, family, man. If you're a fan of volatility, if you're a fan of volume, then this is the week for you for sure, right? Because we should have a ton of it. Okay. Now we do got the boys on the call tonight, right? We got the boy Mr. Kyle Persad in the building, the young legend, young lion, with us tonight. Kyle, my brother, unmute your mic and say what's up. But we also do got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Skaggs, back with us. Definitely appreciate you for coming back with us, bro. I know over the past couple weeks, it's been a little tough on you. And on behalf of the entire community, you know, we do want to send our condolences to you, bro. And, you know, we got your back no matter what, family. But, family, you know, if you guys are available, both of y'all, Kyle, Skaggs, definitely go ahead and unmute yourselves. Skaggs, I'm interested to see what your thoughts are for the news for the week as well. And let the family know that it's going to be an absolute freaking amazing week, man. Let's get it.
Yo, can you hear me, bro?
We can hear you loud and clear. We can
Let
hear
me
you.
see. I can't hear you. If you
Let's
can
see.
hear me.
I can hear
Oh,
you.
there we go.
There we go.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, doing good. You know, excited to get back to the week. We have a lot of news. I just seen that you were going over that as well, so it's gonna be interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm excited for the volatility.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from that, I mean, you know, even this past weekend, man, there was a lot that happened. I don't know if you went over any of that stuff with the stream.
I
But
did. I
I'm
did
sure
not.
we'll conversate about that a little bit tonight as well, because there was big news that's obviously impacting some markets that happened over the weekend as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I agree. Now, I didn't touch on all the major news that happened with the financial institutions going down, but I'm pretty sure we could definitely have a dope conversation on that as well, bro. And I mean, all I pretty much said, I didn't know I was muted on the Zoom, but all I said was I wanted to hear your thoughts and opinions on all the news that's coming up this week, bro. What are your thoughts and opinions on the CPI? The Euro also has CPI. They have their interest rate decision as well. So it seems like it's going to be a crazy one. There's also PPI. Like, it's going to be a very volatile week as well, man. So what are your thoughts overall on this week's Skags?
That's a good question, bro. For me, this is pretty important releases. This will kind of really set the tone for me going forward the next couple weeks. Previous releases here have been a little concerning. We've seen some upticks in some numbers and just some mixed data overall, but some information that may lead the Fed to maybe backtrack back towards being more aggressive. Now I don't think obviously that's probably not where I end up personally. That's not what I believe we'll get. But it becomes an increasing possibility more and more if CPI continues to come out higher. So I'd be lying if I said I didn't have my eyes on it for that reason. If CPI does continue to come out like mixed or even favoring like continuing higher, I will be looking at reassessing what I think the dollar will do over the coming months. I wouldn't be opposed again to more dollar strength, generally speaking, but because of the upticks in this, again, it could sway the Fed.
Yeah.
I will say though, the previous results that were ticking a little bit higher, I think those are. I've been talking about it. I think they're one-offs. I think they're valid. Again, maybe we even come out similar this time, but I don't think it's going to be like the continuation of a new trend of like higher CPI. You might be on the other side of the fence there. Again, you're kind of leaning to a more bullish dollar, so that would only fuel a fire for you. But I'm impartial to how it comes out. I'm ready on both sides. I just again would prefer to see what I want to see.
Yeah, and that's why I'm also monitoring the month-to-month perspective here, because I think that's going to be the more telling one to see what is happening every single month. And just looking at the last few that we've had, I mean, December 13th, was when we pretty much reached like a little bit of a peak at 0.5%, then it went down to 0.2% month over month and 0.1%, but then we had a big jump most recently back up to that 0.5%. So definitely seeing how this
it's a
comes out, man.
cause for concern.
Yeah, definitely seeing what comes out this reading from a month perspective. If we do come out at 0.6 or 0.7, which right now they're expecting 0.4, but if we come out 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, then that's definitely going to add a lot more fear, or keep at least having fear in the markets for sure, right? So we'll see how that goes, man. It's going to be very interesting as well, man. But Kyle, my brother, how you feeling over there, young legend, young lion? You feeling good over there, bro?
Yep. I'm feeling hype, man. Y'all know I love CPI, man. So, y'all cannot keep me out of the markets, man. I'm always gonna be looking at some stuff, especially with the news releases this week. I love seeing all these red folders. I love seeing, all the high impact news and the volatility coming to the market. I'm really excited. So, I really want to see some moves happen. Y'all know I've been looking at a lot of different pairs and whatnot, but this call is definitely gonna be lit, because I'll definitely let you guys know what I'm looking at, and we're gonna take it day by day. This is just the first call of the week. Y'all know we go live about 3 more times for New York session for our premium members, so it's gonna be a great week with all this volatility. I could assure you guys that.
That's a fact. It's gonna be a really, really good week in my opinion. I'm excited for it, man. But let's go ahead and let me just do a quick rundown of the dollar, give my thoughts, and obviously you guys can go ahead and give your thoughts on the dollar as well. And then let's really just have a dope session, man. Let's get the entire community prepared for this up and coming week. But family, man, before we even get into any type of analysis, man, I need you guys to go ahead and smash the like button one time, right? It does help us out tremendously, more than what you guys might even think. So definitely, if you guys appreciate these sessions, if you guys appreciate what we do, if you guys appreciate that Skags is back with us, go ahead and drop a like on the video one time. The goal for this week is 100 likes for right now. Let's go ahead and match our viewers. All right, let's go ahead and match our viewership right now. Let's go ahead and get 100 likes. 100 likes. Goal for today is 100 likes. Let's get it. And I appreciate every single one of you guys that does actually help us smash this goal, right? But let's go ahead and get right into this, family, and let's see what is going on in the markets, man. So overall, and again, everybody's gonna give their thoughts and opinions as well on the dollar, family, and that's why I love these sessions and these streams, you know, because there's times where we all fully agree on what we believe the market is gonna do, but then there's times where we also, you know, have different biases, right? So we're all going to give our thoughts and opinions, and then you guys can come up with whatever makes the most sense for you guys at the end of the day. All right, so let's go ahead and start this off, guys. So overall, man, it's been a very interesting past few weeks for the dollar overall. You know, we've seen a very strong increase in momentum right here, and ever since we had this nice big spike from this 101.500 level, 101.300 level, you know, the market has slowly but surely been making its way to the upside, you know. But to be honest with you, this looks extremely choppy. I'm not sure how much this is gonna hold, especially just seeing how the market reacted once we did end up coming out and clearing these highs. And I am on a daily time frame, by the way, right? You know, but just seeing how the market reacted, guys, when we actually came back up into this level, man, this thing looks like it's finally could, I don't know, in my opinion, I think we could finally see price reach down into this level. Right now, I do have a couple levels that I'm personally going to be paying attention to, but for overall, guys, like, I would not be surprised if we do see this thing, you know, possibly grab some liquidity right there at this 104 level, right, push us back up a little bit, but then see us, you know, go a little bit lower down to the downside. All right, and again, I'm just playing off of how the market is reacting. Now, this could very well just be a very, you know, a pullback right here to continue bullish, right? I'm still very much long-term bullish, you know, and depending on how CPI comes out this week, that's either going to confirm my bias, give me more confidence with my bias, or it might cause me to go ahead and change sentiment overall, man. But for right now, guys, to start the week, I don't know. I see a lot of selling pressure, man. We ended up closing the week pretty strong last week, and I think that momentum for right now could potentially hold, man. So I'm interested to see how we react, first of all, at this 104 level. Right, there's a chance for the market to rebound and go bullish from there, but I'm also going to be paying attention to, if that level just gets ran through, how we react around this 102.500 level, right? Because that's going to be my next level that I'm truly interested in seeing, you know, some more upside here on the dollar as a whole, man. So that's going to be pretty much my blueprint. That's going to be my blueprint going into this week, right? I want to see how or which one of these areas of liquidity, or these areas or these pockets of liquidity, can give me an opportunity to go ahead and go long on. All right, so possibly leaning towards bearishness to start the week overall, you know. But again, we do have news pretty much at the beginning of the week. All right, like on Tuesday, man, it's gonna start the fireworks, right? So possibly maybe just tonight and tomorrow, you know, we see a little bit of a correction, but then some sell side, and then we get CPI. Now, this is how I'm gonna play CPI, though, guys. Right? Very simple. This is how I'm gonna play CPI. All right, again, and I'm looking at it from a month-to-month perspective. Right now, month-to-month, we're at 0.5% CPI, right? So we're at 0.5, all right? And this is from a month-to-month perspective, MOM, month-to-month, okay? If we come out higher, right, if we come out at 0.5 and higher, I am going to be expecting bullish reaction in the dollar, okay? If we come out lower, then I truly expect the dollar to possibly lose value, guys, right? So again, right now we're sitting at 0.5 from a month-to-month perspective, okay? If we see 0.5 and higher, right, then this is what I expect the market to do, right? I expect it to fly, right? And I'm talking about the dollar itself, right? I want to see the dollar absolutely fly. Right now, if we see CPI come out at 0.4 or lower, which right now they're expecting it to come out at 0.4, right, then that could bring some optimism, right? Optimistic outlook, and optimistic approach in the markets overall is usually not going to favor dollar strength, right? Because when there's a lot of optimism entering back into the markets, that is a time for investors to go ahead and go into some riskier assets, right? You know, so this is definitely how I'm going to be playing it. Right now, this is where we're at. If we come out at point 0.5 or higher from a month-to-month perspective, I'm expecting dollar strength to continue. If we come out lower, then I wouldn't be surprised if we do see the dollar start to lose value overall. Okay, so that's just a quick look. Obviously I'm giving you guys an analysis right now from a technical perspective, which again, for me, from a technical perspective, I would love to see us at least come here and break these lows, right? We don't even necessarily have to give a deeper pullback, right? Like, we do not have to see that right there, right? The market could just very well spike below this level and then find some demand and then continue. All right, so that's why I'm gonna be very patient to start the week. I'm gonna see how the market plays off of this level right here, this 104 level, man. If we're able to run that low, these equal lows right here, and then we find some demand, then yeah, I'll be looking bullish. But if we end up running those lows only for us to lead lower, then obviously, we got to be aware of that as well, guys. But overall, the main objective is I'm definitely gonna be waiting for news so we can play news overall, man. But I don't know. This thing could really go either direction if we're being honest. Like, it literally can go either direction. All right, but I mean, family, how you guys feeling, man? Skags, Kyle, how you guys feeling about the dollar overall? All right, because I think it could go either direction, to be honest with you. All right, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I could share my update to my chart. To be honest, I haven't even updated my chart for myself in a while.
Let's see. And big shout out to George for the $10 as well. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. As always, man, we love you, brother.
Hey, shout out that guy, George. What do you say? It says, appreciate you, fam. Always glad to see you back. Appreciate and grateful. Hey, man, we appreciate you as well. We love the people that are on here with us each and every week. And that goes for everybody. See, now, my bad, guys. I wasn't even looking at the chat. But everybody that gave me quick little shout outs and welcome me back, man. I appreciate y'all for real. Cool. Hopefully they can see my chart. Yeah, I really haven't updated this in a while, family. We actually even still have an hourglass here that should be turned into a check mark. So this is the last liquidity, I guess, that I was watching. And we're still working out the idea that this is going to end up as some redistribution. And for those of you that don't know what that means, it means just eventually we expect the price action inside of here to resolve itself to the downside. That is my fundamental outlook. I would say this is probably still pretty early in the cycle, but the thing I really want to pay attention to on this chart is kind of like what Abel pointed out too. You're kind of coming back for like this inner liquidity here. And like what's interesting to me is this candle that kind of brought us up, because this is a very aggressive like 1 day candle that eventually got erased. Okay, granted it took all week to do that, but the fact that it had no follow through is really what catches my eye more than anything, because candles that don't have follow through typically you're never gonna find follow through. Like, this is not gonna just now find follow through like a second time. Some people would argue that, like, yeah, it just wants to take this liquidity before going up. But I think the probability that it just takes this out and then goes up is kind of low, because it already kind of had that chance. You're probably going to end up taking out deeper liquidity. So I'm probably with Abel on the idea that maybe we do finally come down to this 102.50. I mean, this is something that we've been looking at for a long time. For those of you guys that are in the premium room and stuff like that, you guys know we've been kind of waiting on a longer term retest of this 102 area, which would be nice. So I think that's what's in the play for this week, because I think the markets are going to want to play into the idea that CPI will favor this, potential like increase or like return to like this rising inflation problem. I think the markets are going to want to play that idea, and I think in order for them to successfully play that, they're going to need a little bit more liquidity. So I could see us like fading off early week. Just because, again, this candle has no follow through. So I'm going to be watching to see if we can get like down into this area, because that's probably where you'll have the highest probability of, if you are entertaining dollar buys, would be to get into like a low risk. When I say a low risk, I mean like it's probably going to happen during higher volatility times, but the amount of points you can risk can be a lot tighter, and you can kind of like play with the chance of getting stopped out higher, but with a higher risk to reward. Because again, buyers at this point, or just they're kind of at a room. I don't think you're gonna find above this 105, 106. This is probably the outer sides of the range. So if you have one test, two tests, and you only have one test at the bottom of the range, we're probably gonna want to seek that secondary test. So yeah, I'm gonna look for some sort of reason early week to see if we can get in short on any sort of like little baby bounce off this. See if I can play into this 102 area, and then I probably won't look too far past the 102 area, right? Sorry to my swing traders and everybody. It's not, I don't think any entry that we're able to get up here down towards the 102 is going to sustain us like this, right? We all want that, but for the longer term picture, you want to actually like, do something like this where then we can get like a nice move out. So I'm just really going to play this daily range, right? See if I can get something up at the 104.70. I mean, I don't trade the DXY, so basically I'm just looking for this little bounce, anything I can get on currencies and stuff like that, and then see if I can take it the other way. But yeah, that would be my update on the long-term picture of things. I wouldn't expect super trendy markets. I just would expect this to kind of revisit the bottom side of the range here.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. It looks interesting, man. Let's see. That's gonna fill in that FVG. Is very possible for sure. I mean, we've been targeting that level for the past couple weeks, so we'll see if this week does give us an opportunity to actually get down there.
Yeah, I think with the lack of follow through here, we should be good. I would rather like again, like I don't really like to like give DXY levels because I think they're pointless. Like there's no reason to be giving you a level on the DXY unless you could find that same sort of play on like EU, which is what I would rather do. But yeah, if we can get like above this little range here, that's where I would be looking at taking,
Yeah.
executing in against the favor of the dollar, which I think is a good idea this week because EU should have a nice week because we have some EU news, and again, they're going to get more, or they're going to remain aggressive on their rates. They're going to remain at 50 because that's what their last monetary policy statement said. They don't have no fundamental reason to go against that. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
No, that's a fact. There's actually a few interesting comments. Everybody's talking about, well, there's been a few about this whole situation with SVB, the Silicon Valley Bank. Country is dealing with a lot of issues. We thought inflation was the issue, but in reality, there's a lot going on. My thoughts, I think everything is planned to push to digital. I mean, that's another thing, too, that we could talk about, the digital dollar. They're actually on their next phase of that whole process. I mean, there's a lot, man, that we could talk about as well.
It's not a coincidence. It's all happening at the same time.
Let's see. How do they want to
Right,
start?
for all my crypto conspiracy theorists out there, it's not a coincidence.
Stay woke. That's all. Stay woke. Let's see. How do they want to slow inflation when prices increases and people forced to work two jobs to afford? Yeah, I mean, again, it's very tough. Jerome Powell definitely has an extremely complicated job at hand here. Him and the entire FOMC, right? The entire committee. I just know I'm not happy. I'm Jerome Powell right now, man, because it's like a lose-lose situation that he's in. What's your thoughts on ETH? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot we could talk about, Skaggs. What you feeling, bro? You want to just go over some charts and then get into the discussions, or are we getting into the discussions, man, and then correlate it into the charts? What do you want to do?
I mean, shit. Like you're gonna leave it up to me. You may as well leave it up to chat. So, chat, I'm gonna defer to you guys. But if I had to pick a preference, I'd probably talk about all the stuff going on because chart work again, but like Sunday chart work, my belief is like it's cool and all, but unless there's something that you're taking on a Sunday, by the time the markets open up on Monday, you might have a different like idea.
Yeah.
So the fact that like this is like my like I usually just like to come in and just see if there's anything I missed last week that I gotta correct myself on, and since I wasn't here last week, it's a matter of like this is my new idea, and yeah, until the market does something to show me something different than this is what I'll be trading on every currency pair. So
Yeah. Yeah, nah, I mean, so let's get right into it, family. So, I mean, a few headlines of this week. And before we get into that, right, I do want to make this announcement now that we are going in this little headline segment. After having some conversations with the team, I want you guys to be in the lookout in the future for us to actually have, we're not sure exactly what day just yet, but we are going to start up more of like a podcast style of video or content for you guys right here on this YouTube channel. All right, so that's gonna be dope. So like the same thing that we're about to go over right now, like having these conversations about like the major headlines. We're actually literally creating an entire segment for the YouTube channel. I believe the one day is probably gonna be on. It's probably Thursday. We're not starting though for a few weeks. So it's not something that we're gonna start right away. But in the next 2-3 weeks, we will have our own Profit Society podcast, where we all as a collective, especially the ones that are up to date with the news, we're going to be able to do that for you guys, right? So it's most likely going to be on a Thursday, just because that's like the day that is the most clearest for us, so it doesn't coincide or overlap what we do for the premium community. But I think that's going to be dope, because then we'll be able to have these discussions, about all the major headlines of the news, right? Whether it's stuff that's happening obviously with these banking issues, inflation, CPI. We'll even be able to discuss certain things, even if it has to do with sports, if we're able to correlate it back into more of a financial type of perspective. Even entertainment. Like, we're going to talk about a variety of different topics, but it's all always going to have to do with more so the financial aspect or the financial outlook of those specific topics, man. So that's going to be dope, right? So next 2-3 weeks, be on the lookout for that. The Profit Society podcast will officially be starting, and I think it's going to be something that you guys all enjoy, and I think it's something that I'm a freaking enjoy as well, right? So just wanted to put that out there, man. But overall though, guys, so we do have a couple major things that happened this past couple weeks. The main talking point overall has definitely been the whole situation with this bank that happened over this bank that's pretty much headquarters over there in Silicon Valley. This is a bank family. I think it was number 15th largest bank in the entire country, 15th or 16th largest bank in the entire country, with $200 billion of assets under management or under control. So this wasn't no small bank that just literally went bankrupt, or not even bankrupt, that just pretty much went under, right? And this is a big deal in my opinion, because now this could be setting the precedent for what could happen for a lot of other banks, right? Now, keep in mind, there are certain banks, guys, that are just too big to fail, right? Like your Bank of Americas, your JP Mortgages, right? Or JP Morgans, those banks are too big to fail, where the Fed is definitely going to have to bail those out. But a lot of these smaller banks, right? A lot of these community banks, a lot of these credit unions right now and over the next few weeks to few months could start experiencing a liquidity crisis, right? A liquidity issue, where now people are going to start running towards the banks to try to liquidate, their cash or whatever they have. And a lot of these smaller banks are not going to have access or enough capital to actually pay out. So again, I don't want to spread no fear or anything, but this is actually a possibility now, especially since one of the biggest banks, right, number 15th in the world or in the country, has now pretty much went under. This could cause fear across all the financial sectors and all of the banks. And this is stuff that, again, we have to be very mindful of. Now, there is a few reasons why this bank went under. This bank, guys, was heavily invested into mortgage-backed securities, right? Mortgage-backed treasuries, right? Just a whole bunch of government debt. They were heavily invested into a lot of that government debt. But because of inflation going up, which caused interest rates to go up, now the value of that debt that they purchased is worth less than what they originally called it for, because of interest rates going up as aggressively as they did. So when you combine the fact that now what they initially invested into, just because of where we're at now, has quote unquote lost value per se, and you combine that with just businesses and business owners needing to access capital because of rising costs, I mean, it really ended up creating a run-on bank situation, right? Where there was, I believe, 40 or 50 billion dollars worth of cash withdrawn from that bank in a matter of 24 to 48 hours. And obviously, they just did not have enough capital to actually honor all that at that point in time, which is why they're in the situation where they're at now, right? Where the FDIC actually ended up taking control of that bank, right? So it's a situation that sucks because that bank was 95% businesses that had way more than what was federally insured, right? Because these banks, at least the FDIC guys, they only insure up to $250,000, right? So if I have $1 million in a bank account, but yet they only insure up to 250, see, now that remaining 750, there's a big possibility that I do not get it back. But what's most likely going to happen is they're going to get it back, but they'll only probably get maybe 50 cents on a dollar now, right? So they're going to end up taking a massive loss. And there's a lot of big banks, a lot of huge corporations and big banks that use Silicon Valley Bank, guys. So the fact that a lot of these big institutions and these big banks, or not these big banks, but a lot of these institutions, a lot of these big companies now have their capital trapped inside of this one bank, that could really start some issues and lead to a lot of problems, man. But I don't know. It's a lot going on, man, and it's not the only one. Last week as well, there was another bank as well, Silvergate. That was predominantly more so a crypto on and off ramp, right? It really started to brand itself as a crypto on and off ramp that also went down. So there's just a lot happening right now, guys, in terms of the whole banking system, right? So don't be surprised is if you guys do start to hear about more smaller banks starting to go under as well, right? Because all this talk, everything that happens in the news about it is going to incite fear. Nobody wants to be the last one trying to get their money out, right? So everybody's going to run to try to be the first one to get their money out, which is going to start that bank on run situation. And then the bank is really going to be in some issues, man. So, I mean, but Skags, Kyle, what do you guys think about this situation, man? Have you guys done some research on this?
Bank runs are self-fulfilling prophecies.
Explain that. Explain that.
Well, I mean, that's the idea, right? It's like, oh, if you think that your bank's going to get run on and you spread that rumor, it's only going to entice people to want to take their money out, which is exactly what causes the bank the
Yeah.
bank run to begin with. And that doesn't mean like I mean obviously there has to be as with anything, right? The top 5% own 95% as it is anyway. So it's like even if you have 60% of just retail people go out, I mean that could definitely, create an impact, but yeah, it's a slippery slope, It's like when people are like, "Oh, take all your coin off Coinbase because they're like, they're gonna take it all because they're going bankrupt or whatever." It's like
Mm-hmm.
you don't understand by you inciting that fear. Like if that is gonna happen, like you're doing nothing but help it happen faster. So
Yep.
it's like not that you shouldn't take your own money out, but it's like again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Usually you either have to be an insider to know what's really about to happen and get your money out, which is coincidentally enough what some of the higher ups at this institution did. You could actually look up a lot of them actually did end up selling a bunch of stock up into like the 320, like basically right up here. Like some of their exit prices are like so conveniently, like right here at the highs, which again, because they own a majority of shares, that's probably what it is. They probably flooded the market up here, which, started the downturn. But yeah, a lot of them, I think like the CEO got out something like $3.2 million worth of stock above $300. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like again, like unless you're that person that can do that, and like, yeah, that's insider trading, whatever it is, you can label it however you want, but if you know something's gonna fall, it's like you may as well just take the risk at that point than you know, get, basically just let it go to zero. But
Yeah.
just deal with the consequences of that. Um but yeah, man, like it's always a self-fulfilling prophecy because once that news hits, everybody just does it, which then equals the bank run. Will we see more of this? I don't know. They're pretty content on bailing people out of this completely. So I do have a headline here. It says U.S. regulators say SVB customers will be made whole as second bank fails. So it seems like even if you're not FDIC insured, like you said, they're probably not going to get dollar for dollar. Because technically, they'll be anything above zero is honestly a gift to them. So yeah, it's be interesting to see what they get. 50 cents on the dollar, 35 cents on the dollar. Above 50 cents on the dollar would surprise me. I mean, if they go full on insured, that would be an interesting way. Um, Dollar for dollar, like nobody loses anything, and just the good people take a hit. Um, that's a solution. That's a solution, I suppose. But
Yeah.
it sets dangerous precedents because then they have to do that. If another bank fails, it's like what where's the cutoff with that? So
Yeah.
yeah, is it an issue? Sure, but you guys got to understand at the same time, this is also low key kind of the goal, right? And like you probably won't hear mainstream media talk about this too much, but this is kind of the goal, right? It's like when they were pressing Powell. If you guys watched the recent testimony from Powell, it was kind of like when they were grilling him about the unemployment rate. It's like you guys want the unemployment rate to go up, and like the answer to that question is yes, they do. Like technically speaking, their actions, yes, like ultimately would they prefer to see that. It's a terrible thing to say, especially when you're in that position of power. Like that's why they grill him so hard because they know he's gonna like do anything in his power to say yes but no. Because you don't want to just tell people like, yeah, we're trying to put you in a state of like high unemployment. Like you're just gonna freak people out by saying that. But again, that's also the goal here is to squeeze out these terribly leveraged, terribly positioned institutions that didn't do anything to protect themselves and are playing on the outskirts of what they should be playing out of. Are they going to say that? No, but it is ultimately the goal because you get this shadier, you know, system out of here. You rebuy it for cheaper, which is basically all they're doing. Again, if they offer a bailout like they are, they're just buying up all the assets for cheaper. So it's not like none of this wealth goes away. The wealth just gets transferred to somebody at a discount, and then they just continue the show, and that's what happens. So it's like don't be surprised by this. Like they're gonna even big name ones that overextended themselves. That's how the game works. It's like you're purging the bad so they can keep up their little charade with, just a different brand name. So
Hmm.
yeah, that would be my opinion on that. Like it's built into the system, unfortunately. And it's a hard truth to swallow, but it's a truth nonetheless.
Hmm. Yeah. Now it's very interesting times, man. How are you guys feeling in the chat about it, though, family? What do you guys think about it? What are your guys' thoughts and opinions?
Isn't it
I
interesting
heard that
how
ass. Oh my
the
bad.
top of the market was at that imbalance right there? It literally played that imbalance right before it made that melt and it hit that hidden supply right there. If that doesn't tell you that, smart money always has an excuse of when to enter and when to exit, I don't know what will.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, the CEO of this company wasn't looking at hidden supply on a chart. I'll tell you that.
But
What he
it
was
all
probably looking
lines
at was
up.
his liabilities versus asset sheet. That was screaming that you guys are screwed. That's what he was looking at.
I want to bring something up though. Whether you guys believe in this or not, I want to play this video. Now, take a look at this. Oh,
Unmute it.
let me get the audio back.
The bank is out of money. Insolvent? You only have enough cash for the next 3 customers. Just a second here. No, I don't have your money here. It's in Bill's house and Fred's house. Hey, what the hell you doing with my money in your house, Fred?
Isn't it funny how it says Silicon Valley Bank? And that actually
What do you
happened.
mean the bank is out of money?
All right, I'll pause it. It's crazy how it actually said Silicon
Yeah, I
Valley Bank.
wanna. I mean, what's odds? I mean, these things are always so interesting.
I don't ever believe the Simpsons.
Yeah, no,
Now,
because usually what happens is this goes viral, then 5 hours later, I see somebody say like, "No, here's the original screenshot." Like it's
no, no,
always
no. It actually was Silicon Valley Bank, and Silicon Valley Bank did go down. Now, my point behind this is the elites behind this game, they believe in something called karmic retribution, right? If you guys have ever heard about this, karmic retribution, it means they will broadcast what they're about to do before they do it, just so they
what you
can
mean is predictive programming.
basically, but they will put it on TV as a joke. They will put it on, you know, like concerts as a joke, right? Have you ever seen like some of those concerts?
Yeah, you know
Where,
what this really is, though? This is really just the creators of The Simpsons playing something called game theory. If you don't know what game theory is, then you don't understand what The Simpsons is because they had there's for every one right thing in The Simpsons, there's something like fucking like 12 or 13 wrong things. So it's like you should, I mean, yeah. There's people that believe this, and then there's people that just understand game theory.
Now, I don't believe it, but I do believe in karmic retribution. And karmic retribution means they'll put it right in front of your face before they go ahead and do so. Like some of these concerts where like some of the rappers are putting on like devil signs, like upside down crosses and shit like that. There was like a concert in Brazil where they were doing like a whole bunch of upside down crosses and like some like just some Jesus hate. And it's crazy because like the next day there was a flood in Brazil that wiped out like a big amount of the population in their buildings and a lot of their like landmarks and stuff. Just
All that sounds like to
I
me
mean,
is like they upset
I was
God.
about to say that's what happens when you go against God.
I
Like
mean, that sounds like they weren't really playing with the government. They were
they're playing
they
with
were
God
playing
at
with
that
something they
point.
shouldn't have been playing with.
Yeah, like that's them
I
just
mean,
being
like
dumb.
regardless of your beliefs, I don't think you should be going around knocking on yeah,
Jesus.
and I mean any sort of entity, whether you believe in it or not. That's, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's funny as hell.
yeah, I don't know, bro. I mean, like again, there's like stuff like this. Like I'm sure The Simpsons has some version of this for every bank that they like possibly can.
I mean, all they do, bro, is they have their own bank first of all. Like their own bank. I actually have a graphic right here that I could share so you guys can
Yeah, it
see.
probably says like Springfield Bank.
Yeah, it was the first bank of Springfield,
Yeah, First Bank. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and
Like,
then
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
then they simply. I mean, this is literally what Simpsons does. They done so many scenarios over the years. Like this was an episode from 1995.
yeah,
So like they've created so many different scenarios that they always have an episode for something major that's about to happen, and they're always able to go ahead and I don't even know if it's them particularly, but people always Photoshop it.
I think at this point, it like if I was them, I would drop them secretly because that's just the best marketing tactic you could ever have.
It's interesting.
Like if that like I would imagine it's them because they're just their meme marketing is so elite and you don't even realize it.
Yeah,
And they've conned everybody into. That's what I'm saying. You see how fake that looks now. Like when you look at it,
Yeah, yeah.
it's yeah, it's very clearly Photoshop. It's funny though. I'm not gonna lie because again, like what happened in that scene, like again, you see how he provoked that. Again, that's what I was talking about with the bank run. It's like this self-fulfilling prophecy. It just starts with one little like bird that just translates the message, and then everything gets out of control very easy. And that's what happens when you run your system on fractional reserve banking, where if you put a dollar in, the bank lends that dollar out as if it's like 10,
yeah.
you know?
No, that's a fact. Yo, I actually have
Again,
the.
it's
Hold
all
on.
it's all systematic
That
nonsense.
is true. The little kid did provoke that. So like
Look
if
at this. Let's watch the actual episode real quick. It's only 30 seconds, real quick. Like this is from the start, from when the guy starts talking. And again, guys, like this is literally similar to what's happening right now. What will happen to a lot of banks if the Fed doesn't get this under control?
What do you mean the bank is out of money? Insolvent? You only have enough cash for the next 3 customers?
Hey, what wait a minute, just a second here. No, I don't have your money here. It's in Bill's house and Fred's house.
Hey, what the hell you doing with my money in your house, Fred?
Yeah, that was funny as hell.
It's really how it works, though. They really
I
just
mean it's the
be-
same scene. They just, put back
yeah,
the
they just
actor.
it's just the title. But yeah, nah, it's really how it works, though. You know, you put your money in, and they buy the neighborhood, and then your neighborhood expands, and
Yeah, that is hilarious.
it's just your money they lent out to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I mean, again,
The bank run is funny though. The bank run got the crypto market going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yo, you know what's crazy? I actually made a post on Facebook too a couple of days ago as it was dropping, right? And obviously, because of all this dropping, you know how people start shitting bricks and getting so scared.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I do.
for one, watch how resilient Bitcoin is and Ethereum is to news that should send this much lower. Like, there's been so much news, so
Not
many
even
different
really. I mean, not
factors.
even like the biggest scare here, I think, wasn't even so it has nothing to, I mean, so the bank, the unfortunate thing here, and the reason why the crypto market even got affected is because there was money, there was 3.3% of Circles, which is the parent company of USDC, right, which is Coinbase and Square basically. 3.3% of their USDC reserves were actually inside of that bank that failed. So it's like when you're looking at that, like, yeah, that's a realistic problem, right? Because now you have, reserves that are supposed to be backed 1 to 1 or whatever it is. And now 3.3% of that is just gone. So the whole USDC depegging thing, people think that's like a problem. It's like technically yes, but like what kind of response did you expect from the fact that they just lost 3.3% of their reserves? Like that's not good news. So it's like the depegging and all that is it is what it is. That for me, if I had and again I do have some cash in USDC that sits, like I wasn't freaking out and looking to exchange it. Some people were trying to get out of USDC, which is just stupid because you're just getting rid of your USDC at a discount for no reason because again you could wait for news, you could see what happens with this 3.3%. Like if it's being fully insured now, like regulators are talking about, then it's not an issue. Who's really worried about it at that point? So all is right at the end of the day. But yeah, this is what really drove the crypto markets to kind of have their dip was like the USDC and the questionable future of that 3.3% reserves and like what they were going to do in that situation and how they were going to handle it. But yeah, I'm cool with it, man. Like I said, like there were a few people that were very bearish and some people that were really looking at like making long-term changes when you should have just been long-term accumulating. I mean, I said on here 2, 3 weeks ago, last time we talked about crypto, to expect a dip to 20K. And then when we get to that dip to 20K, like that's when we want to, really start kind of going aggressive. And I mean, there it was. Like you may not like the circumstances of what you got the 20K, but that's besides the point. Like you like you have a plan, you got to follow it. So I did that a little bit again because of the whole issues with USDC and like some things being down. I didn't go super crazy. My DCAs are still on, so it is what it is. I got like 2, 3 days of like better pricing. I'll take it.
Listen, Bitcoin
Um,
is up 12.5% since breaking below that 20K.
yeah, and the entire fear move is erased, and on Ethereum it's even greater, I think.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. Now look at this tweet right here, which I just found. It's going to be quite ironic if high interest rates don't reduce inflation, but instead just causes a bunch of banks to fail due to bad bets buying treasuries. Yeah, that would be crazy. But it seems like this is actually a possibility now, more than anything. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I mean, the system is meant to break those more over extended banks.
Yeah. See, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
AAA is still the gate.
Like that whole situation with obviously SVG, but even the Silvergate situation. Like these are headlines though that should really have sent crypto falling like crazy. But just look how strong and resilient Bitcoin and Ethereum really are. Like during times
This
like
is why I
this,
say we're not really in a bear market. We're not really in a bull market either, which some
yeah,
people
we're
think
not. We're just
is like
chilling.
the only two options. But we are in like an accumulation phase. Like you can't say like we're not.
Yeah, we're just
Whether
chilling.
you think again in the prophecy of like the below 15K or not, which again from a Wyckoff standpoint, we could still get like a spring. Like,
Oh,
I'm not impartial to that idea. I do lean away from that though because I'm a little bit I'm more bullish than that, but I welcome it. But yeah, man, it's been super resilient. It's been great to see,
yeah.
and hopefully the Bears. I don't know. Hopefully the Bears wake up and realize that like you know the market. Though again, the market obviously has more demand than you think it does.
Yeah.
The
Awesome.
halving clock ticks on. That's the thing. It's like you could, I ignore everything else. Too many people are focused on the deep fundamentals when like really 90% of my crypto analysis comes from that clock is ticking. All right, we're getting closer and closer to that halving date. And like I'll say it a million times, like that fundamental event takes precedence over every other thing happening in the market for me. You know, you'll have your up and down days because of these news, but like as we get closer to May of 2024, you're
Yeah.
gonna have a harder and harder time convincing me.
I mean, I'm with you, bro. That's why I'm still buying every
Yeah, I
single
mean we're
week.
still a year. Like, granted, I mean, we can make the argument that we're still more than a year away. So I am a little early, but I'm a big advocate of having as much as you possibly can before it. So
It's right now is the best time, bro. Like, cause again,
yeah, I mean,
I
I can't say that because I have publicly stated that there are better times, but the best time and a great time are both still good times to be buying. So it's like,
I mean, for me, it's the best time just because of where we're at in terms of the cycle. Like again, if we're gonna go by what one of my
yeah,
favorite tools,
if we're gonna go by the stock to flow,
if we're
it's
going
yeah.
by one of my favorite,
Even then though, so
listen, stock to flow
but so the question here, bro,
has
though,
been
is
going
this then
crazy.
because yeah, based off stock to flow, it is one of the best
It's the
times, but
best time according
I
to
would
stock to
think
flow.
for you and me, it's a better time than most people because I would say so. The problem with most people, and again, like I'm not making any assumption about people watching, but like I think you guys would agree with me, and let me know in the chat if maybe I'm wrong. But I would say most people are really impatient about when they get their return on investment. So like for me, there's like two really great times. If you are the long-term investor, like you're not going to touch it, you're not going to do anything, like now is like great, right? You're in the deep blue, like you're already accumulating. That's you.
Yeah,
However, if you're the person that like it's gonna kill you to hold until past May 2024, you're like, I don't want to hold this for a year and to do relatively nothing. Like maybe it goes up, maybe it goes down, like depending where you get in. But if that's you and you're impatient as all hell, then you need to buy like the 90 days before the halving, like the 3 months before the halving. This way, like your wait time to ROI is better. Because like if you look at like where the purple is, like the purple, like if you're buying in the purple, like your time to your ROI is like much shorter. Because like the market's gonna just start taking off. So you're not be in that bull market. But if you're in the deep blue, sometimes you buy it. And it's like it is painful for like a year and a half before you really get like a, a good return on it.
yeah, yeah. No,
So
that's true.
some people see it as like a great investment being like, okay, it's like, it's not only a good price, but it's also going to give me a return fairly quickly. And I would laugh at you in long-term capital gains tax.
Yeah, no, that makes definitely a lot of sense. It really does come out to patience levels at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think I made a Facebook post like that. I was like, the pricing on Bitcoin right now is perfect if you can hold it for 2 years. I'm like, if that's not you though, you need to
Yeah, because this is
come back in about a year and a
yeah,
half if you can't handle the weight.
yeah, yeah. Because historically, again, it's not just us making stuff up, but historically, in these dark blues is when the low of the quote unquote bear market is set in. So if you don't have patience, then just wait. Like Skag says, as of right now, it's predicted to be around May, the actual halving. So and that's May of 2024. All right, so
Actually, you know what this brings up
two
too,
months
bro?
away.
Is what's your opinion on Biden's brilliant idea over there of doing a 30% tax on energy used to mine crypto?
I mean, I don't really have no true opinions on it. I mean, I know for a fact they're gonna do whatever they can to get some money out of this whole new digital era that we're heading into. So I don't know if he's doing it to try to slow down the miners just because of how much consumption of electricity they use. Because I mean, they do like mining does take up a lot of electricity, like it really does. But I don't know. I really don't have no real true opinion on it. What do you think about that?
I mean, I would agree. I don't think obviously mining is. I mean, the whole does mining take a lot of power is like depends on really much how much you value the freedom of like Bitcoin. It's like if you're a permabull like me, you're gonna justify it. It's like yeah, but there's like dumber shit that we spend energy on, like
Yeah,
equal amounts of energy. I will say, when it comes to the 30% tax, I'm interested to see what it does on mining in the United States. Obviously, Bitcoin is way bigger than the US. There's plenty of other countries that can take on that front and will, and there are companies that will move if necessary. So like that's always been relevant with Bitcoin is like even when it was banned in China, like yeah, the hash rate took a hit, like the amount of miners took a hit, but we soon surpassed that. So it's like it's like it's Bitcoin mining has been very resilient to like all terms of like taxes and bans and stuff like that. I will say if it doesn't persuade the miners too much, at the end of the day, all it does is raise costs for the coin. The more expensive it is for a miner to mine it, then the more logical it is for that miner to, add that cost into their asking price. So
Yeah.
like generally speaking, the how much it costs to mine a Bitcoin consistently always goes up. It always requires more computational power, which always requires more energy to offset. So it's like you always have to be kind of like it's like always a scaling game. It's like if you don't scale, if you don't continuously improve your farm, then more times than not, after the next halving and stuff like that, it just becomes less viable. So with the increase in production cost, you're probably going to see an even better price reaction because again the miners have to break even at the end of the day. At the very least, they have to break even. And I think there's a chart in there somewhere for it. It's like the Bitcoin like mining profitability chart or something like that, where you could actually see whether or not miners are on average making their money back or what kind of premium they're getting for their coin. So yeah, a 30% tax on the energy, I mean, I think there's just, that's politicians being politicians.
Yeah.
I think what they really do is in the future, they offset that by saying if you can prove that you're using green or renewable energy, that we will subsidize some of this tax. So I think it'll probably settle around like 15-20% because again, their administration wants to push that. So it's like, okay, if you have this thing that's taking up a bunch of energy, let's add a 30% tax to it and incentivize people to go green so they can push, their other agendas that they have. So I think that's really the play is just to put a stupid tax on it and then subsidize that tax by forcing people to use a specific energy type.
Yeah. Interesting stuff, man. Extremely, extremely interesting stuff.
Yeah, all things that that most people I don't think would consider.
Most people don't even understand any of that, to be honest with
That's okay. We got to get them right with the crypto boot camp.
you. That's a fact. Yo, this website actually has a lot of freaking tools that you guys can utilize and do your research on your own time if you really wanted to.
Yeah, this is a good one, and then crypto quant, which depending how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go, might cost you some money. But
Yeah.
crypto quant has a ton of deep on-chain metrics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Liddy. Liddy. Alright, so let's go ahead and go through a few of these markets as well and see what the hell is going on. So family, if you guys have any pairs you guys want to analyze, by all means, definitely write it in the chat. Let us know. And we'll take a quick glance to see what is actually happening right now in the space. Now, gold is very interesting, man. I want to see your guys' thoughts on gold because gold did have a crazy run to finish last week out. And again, I'm torn as well as to what I believe gold can also do. We obviously did end up spiking above this area of liquidity. We ended up closing pretty aggressively to the downside, right? But what can happen next? Are you guys on the side of selling gold? Are you guys on the side of buying gold? Or are you guys just on the side of not doing a damn thing with gold? Like, what do you guys think? Skaggs and Kyle.
I'm a buyer. I think it'll go through a compression cycle. That's just me though.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like the momentum.
Yeah, no, I'm extremely bullish on gold, man. Like, there's no reason not to be bullish on gold. This thing is long term, due for another run.
Let's see. Yeah, now we're at interesting
Yeah,
levels.
I think its only option is compression at this point, which is not when that compression cycle, if you don't know, is like basically when you keep beating against the same resistance. So it's like we probably won't move any higher initially, but we'll probably keep playing like the low we're making right now, like 1873. Like we'll probably hold this, go up, test 1890, come back down to like 1878, go back up, test 1890, come back down to like 1880. All right, so creating like higher lows into the same resistance area until eventually she just pops. If she does pull back pretty successfully, I could see her actually falling. Um, because typically when you have like fast-paced moves like this, they either compress and continue, or they pull back and they erase pretty smoothly. So yeah, my assumption would be like, yeah, maybe if your little liquidity there gets taken, you go play with 1890 again, and then come down and kind of just form like an ascending triangle or any other variation of the same resistance with increasing higher lows.
Yeah, interesting, man.
What about you, man? What are you thinking?
I don't know, man, because I really don't know what I think, man, because like I was I want to see gold reach this 1915. Like I'm a fan of gold reaching 1915, but depending on how CPI comes out, which again could obviously change a lot of the stuff that we're doing now, I would think if it does come out higher, then I'm bearish gold. Or I would be expecting this to probably just really run through all the way to the downside, especially since we did just grab some liquidity. We got a very interesting reaction off of that grab of liquidity. I don't know. That's why I'm on the sidelines, man. Because again, the CPI reading is gonna give me a lot more insight. Because I mean, you guys know me. Like I'm very big on understanding fundamentals to create a bias overall. And since we have CPI literally in 2 days, it's probably best for me to just wait, sit on the sidelines, right? Allow the data to come out, and then make some decisions after that. You know, like once the actual data comes out, CPI, you know, I'll pretty confidently have a bias here on gold, right? Depending on how it comes out. But for the start the week, I don't know, man. I'm chilling. I'm chilling to start the week. I really don't have nothing that I'm leaning towards whatsoever, like at all.
I mean, I'd be pretty greedy and say I want to get in before CPI.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
chilling.
yeah, only because like if it does do some sort of compression thing, I'm not like by the time CPI comes, it's gonna be too late based off what I want. Like I'll just share what I want to see. But like for me, I mean, like arguably, like maybe even like around now, or these prices here are probably some of the best. Again, I may not even get what I want, but like ultimately, what I want to see this week again is it just to kind of compress between here before it like shoots for that level that like Abel was looking at. Because this can't pull back. If this pulls back any some, then the path was going to be different, even if we end up in the same spot. Obviously, that never triggered. So I want to kind of see that and see once we pop above this, and then like maybe sellers are like able to come into the market. So it's like again, like I have suspicions that this is probably the low, but I'm not going to pull the trigger on anything on the Sunday here. But degenerate me watching that in the moment probably would have wanted to take a stab at this. So I'm gonna actually see if I can get a little bit below here because that would just be preferred. So I would like to see. Probably would have been easier if I just. Yeah.
You got a nice long candle on the 1 hour.
And below here.
Yeah.
On the 1 hour.
No, is it? Let me see. Where is it? Yeah, on the 1 hour.
Yeah, it's more or less the same
exact level. Yeah.
Yeah, so we know liquidity lives there on multiple time frames. Like I would like to see us get a little bit below here. All right, once we get below here, if we can get something, or we get back above, again, like the goal is not to strike as it's right here. It's to like actually let it form and like do its thing, then strike. But yeah, again, see it kind of play into like this all week until it finally breaks out higher. But ultimately, that's what I'd want to see into the CPI release. And the CPI release again may push us. I mean, depends on how it comes out. If I get my way, what we'll probably get is it coming out at like 0.3, 0.4. I wanted to see it remain elevated, but not surpassing previous. Like it can't go above that 0.5. It goes above that 0.5, this thing's gonna just rip. So So I'd like to see it come out at like point 0.3, point 0.4, where like the reaction, because it's lower than last time, is technically bearish. But the market kind of like looks at it and says like, oh well, there's still some hopium, and because of that, like the unsustainable move comes in, and then like maybe the U.S. dollar gets that strength, which again aligns with my DXY analysis a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what I would expect out of gold. Again, like I do ultimately think this might be like a pipe dream because I've seen it like just do this nonsense where it just sits here. But yeah, by the time like it already forms like these highs and like is trading inside of here is gonna be like when most people try for the buy. And then I don't think I want to try to catch this type of move. But that's what I'll be looking at for the week on gold personally.
Yeah. Shit, if we can get some entries before news, I don't mind risking I don't mind taking a stab at it.
I'm gonna just take Kyle's signal because I know Kyle 2 minutes before news is gonna be dropping something for me. So I'm gonna let the
Literally 2
fate
minutes.
of Kyle's skill guide me on CPI.
What's funny is that's exactly what's gonna happen.
It never fails. You always
Yep.
do it.
I mean, we might not be taking it on gold. We might be taking the USD CAD trade. I might have to add that to my watch list for the first time in years. But
Listen, I'm trading USD Swiss, so I'm super slow.
yeah, you see how annoying gold is right here.
Taking the USD
Telling you,
Swiss.
we should have looked at this 10, 15 minutes ago. Abel, what's going on with GJ, my guy? What's the word?
Oh, yo, hey,
I was just asking. I wanted his just technical opinion, Kyle. Don't be
hey,
starting.
man.
Oh,
I
GJ's
just
been
it
going
hasn't it
great.
hasn't done anything. That's why I was asking. It hasn't done anything in anybody's favor for that.
Nah, I'm playing.
GJ has been going great.
I mean, it's at no different of a price than we had our debate, to be honest.
Literally, at all.
Yeah, it's been doing. I mean, it's been doing a few things. Like, again, for me, I know I said at least in the premium Discord that like after this attempt got break even, that like obviously we'd want to wait until the candle up here at 166.80 was taken. This was like a worthwhile attempt. Again, I still lean to the idea that maybe this breaks, but I have mentioned like again, I will trade to the downside with the bias of like now there is a climactic order block that sits here. Again, did it happen where I wanted it to happen? No, but like order flow is still intact, so I'm gonna go with it. What really interests me is like last week's action. Like we waved this liquidity here, and again we've fallen all the way down. So it's like if you're gonna play this like you do the dollar, it's like they really tried. Then it's like sellers really tried too, and they weren't able to bring it any lower. So this, I'll be honest with you, this thing is kind of just like a mess.
Yeah, it is.
At this point, again, I still rule in the idea that like this probably wants to test higher. I would imagine. I don't see why it wouldn't. Um, I mean, now like maybe we do get a retest of this OB. Again, I'm kind of even torn taking this. I'll probably take the stab because on a technical level, it is things that I would want to see. So if reactions do happen off here, I might get suckered in to try. And if I take the loss, I take the loss. But like ideally, like I would like to see like this candle get taken out. And if I could snipe something up here with like a 30, 40 pick stop, like that would be like my preferred trade. But yeah, I mean, fundamentally, there's nothing that's really been helping me. They've just been the same old story, which again leans to the bull side. So the bulls still have that going for them for sure. Yeah, there's no really other like technical update. It's been just a kind of just a mess for being real.
It really has just been extremely choppy for sure. Extremely choppy. But what I'll be looking for, I mean, I got a couple levels that I'm paying attention to for GJ. Let me show y'all what I'm
Yeah, let me know where the buyers are gonna be looking to play.
Yeah, I mean, I got these levels right here that I'm very interested in, right? So, I mean, for anybody that's new, anytime you see dollar signs on my chart, that's pretty much just areas of potential liquidity. Obviously, for the sake of my bias, I don't want it to reach all the way down to these levels because then this thing is going to just completely fall off the face of the earth. But, I'm interested at these levels here, below this 161.250 level, man. Like, that could give us a nice opportunity to go ahead and get us up into that level that you're probably interested in. So that's going to be an area I look for, and even potentially under this 160 level as well. I just think that there's a lot of liquidity position below there that we could potentially go ahead and target as well. So yeah, these levels are going to be my interesting levels that I'm paying attention to this week, right here, and then right here to look for some buys. So that's where I'm playing at. So I don't know. I'm still very much bullish, man. I still think we have some ways to go. But yeah, just like you mentioned, bro, like the fundamentals, like I don't know what the hell they're thinking over there. With keeping rates where they're at, but they're still doing it. And like I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, Skags, bro, but like I don't understand what their thought process is. Right? Like they see inflation is going higher, but with their thought process, they're saying, okay, as long as we continue to ease, as long as we keep rates negative, it's just gonna magically turn back around. Like, what? Does that make any sense to you, or am I tripping?
Well, they think that their inflation
It's transitory.
is not being caused by them. So that's basically their position. Their position is like, oh, we're just seeing the effects of like global inflation, which is true. They're not wrong.
They're not.
Right? They're right. Like a good portion of their inflation probably just is the global inflation. Like I mean, their highest has been what, like 4.3%.
Yeah.
It's not really a worry. That's still lower than most. Like you've made this point before too. It's like, it's bad, but it's not as seemingly bad. Like you look at like what they're dealing with in the Eurozone. You're talking about like 8, 9, 10% like steady inflation. Like that's no joke. So they're kind of just saying like it's not a result of our monetary policy, it's a result of like outside factors. And again, like I mean I think it's a little bit of both because I mean like you can't just continue easing. I mean at the very least you could have just been neutral. They're only negative 0.10%, so it's not like a gigantic deal either. But it's negative nonetheless. So
Yeah.
I just think they don't see it as their problem. It's like what it really comes down to. And I do think that's reckless because even though technically speaking it is based in some logic, like if global inflation were to resolve itself, their inflation probably would drop 1%, 1.5%, maybe even 2%. Maybe it would go back down to that 2% area. Maybe that's a possibility. But I think the longer they just say it's a global problem and like it's not affecting us, it just kind of builds up the ammo for it eventually affecting just them. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, man. Their thought process is definitely interesting. It's not what I expected. I did expect. I mean, they said if it got over 3% that they were gonna, look into making changes, and here we are at 4.3, and no word of changes has been made. So
At all.
like, yeah, so
In
it's
fact,
like,
they're actually doubling down on the opposite of change, which is kind of crazy. Like,
yeah, yeah. So they've really, those were kind of, again, like, and I was basing my bias off that. Is like they said, like they said they were going to do something if it got, out of control. So again, like I'm still confused on what the definition of out of control is for them since we're above their target, but it's, to each their own. I'm excited to see how it plays out because either one of two things is going to happen. Either this is going to magically work, and I will have to study deeper into why. um,
yeah.
or they are really throwing their currency in the trash. Um,
And I'm going with the latter at this point.
yeah, which also again makes sense. If the world's gonna move to CBDCs, maybe they know that and they just don't care. They're like, well, we're throwing the system away soon anyway on a global basis, so why should I care to fix like a wheel we're about to replace? That would be an interesting concept, maybe. Because again, they are usually they're more likely to adopt, new technologies in their government and stuff like that. They're not as scared of it as the US is.
Interesting times, man. Interesting times. Shout out to the Bank of Japan for having no sense of what they're doing. I don't know. They just confused the
I
hell out
mean,
of
they're pretty confident in what they're doing. I can't see
That's
the logic behind it.
yeah. That's what's.
That they're confident in their made up plan that they have.
I mean, you brought this up in the past too. Like, it's the same thing with every other central bank saying that shit is transitory. Like, is it really? Like, how can you guys be so obviously? Again, we've talked about this as well in terms of like how, they live over there is completely different from how we live over here and their standards. But like, bro, I'm scared of that word transitory at this
Yeah,
point.
I mean the U.S. has what like a negative savings rate right now.
Yeah,
Like that's not a problem in Japan.
at all.
Yeah, if anything, the country is like begging them to to go out and spend. Um, which again, if you guys are new and you haven't heard us talk about this before, the Bank of Japan is very culturally different in terms of money. They're more willing to sit on cash and save it, whereas in the United States we have more of a consumer mindset. Now that doesn't, I'm not talking about you as the individual, but I am talking about the majority. This is, it's just monetary policy fact. You live in a consuming country. And that doesn't mean that Japan doesn't have wild consumption as well, but in comparison to like their longer term savings, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, what does that say? 26, 24%?
That's in 2021. But yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Look at what it is for the United States. Yeah, go find the United States. Let's see.
See, it's 2021.
17.4. Interesting. Oh, that's probably also
I mean,
is if that's also 20. That's a little unfair. If it's 2021, that might be based off the fact that a lot of people just got pandemic money and stuff like that too.
yeah, that's what I
So
think
it's
it
it's
is.
it's skewed data. But if you look at like recent stuff, like savings is through the floor.
Yeah, I agree. It really is.
So yeah, I mean it could be that. Um,
And
that's probably the
just
most helpful thing I've learned about the difference between our economies and theirs. Because again, we are trading foreign currencies, guys. It's easy to think that everywhere in the world has the same kind of habits about money as us. And it's like you'll find that certain countries actually do adopt, you know, different ideologies. So they have to deploy different tactics.
yeah,
Again, when you're talking about like the Eurozone and Canada and the US, and it's all very similar. So it's a little different, but as you go a little more exotic on your pairs.
yeah. No, that's a fact.
Look at that 5 minute candle, bro. That's a nice little setup.
Yeah, I'm looking for the play-by-play right here at this point. It seems like seeing how we
It
react.
reminds me of EU, which was a beautiful buy off a candle like that.
I just like how we reacted
Yep.
off of these lows.
That EU last week, man.
Yeah, I think the EU was like the entry was 2 weeks ago, but that yeah, like it worked. Because I think it was like the Friday before last week is when the entry revealed itself, or like the Thursday before. And then last week, I mean, it sat around for a while, but it ended up last week. It ended up finally producing more than it had previously. But yeah, that's a nice little setup. That's a setup I would take most days.
Yeah, doesn't look bad.
Is there any reason to believe it would go below that candle? No, not really.
I mean, not really. We ended up
Yeah,
shooting
not
these lows
really.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the pip risk on that? Oh, like 20? Oh, ill.
30 pips.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It looks so good because it's a 5 minute chart, and it's like because it's GJ, it's a it's a 30 pip
I
stop.
mean, we could even go and play this little last bearish can on the 2 minute. Give us a
Yeah, I know, but the same setup on EU was a 6 pip stop.
give us a nice little 20 pip. I mean, this is a nice 10-to-1 risk to reward if we were able to come back to these highs. That's
Yeah,
not bad.
EU. I don't even know what EU is playing as. I think EU is play. I mean, if you were able to get that entry, it would have been a 6 pip stop. Realistically, you wouldn't have been able to get that. It would have been like yeah, it would have been like a 15 pip stop realistically. But EU right now is working out as a 1 to 9. So yeah, pretty close.
This is not bad.
I wish I could have sent that officially. I only really wrote that in the chat, so I can't even really take credit for that. But I did tell you guys to save that as a case study for people that are in the premium. There's a reason I told you guys to save that EU play. Let me see what we got in the chat here, though. Anything in
I
particular?
ended up taking it, but
I mean, yeah, I took it. There's a few people that took it from the chat for sure. It's
I
just
ain't
like
even gonna
I
lie.
definitely wasn't officially on a call to like call it out.
No, it's understood, bro. I mean, honestly, what we want to do is help you guys like notice stuff like that, so you guys could take it. I mean, because if the risk to reward is there, I'm always like the type of guy. I'm like, why not? So I did take it. I'm not gonna lie. Am I still holding on to it? Not really. But at the end of the day, I feel like you might as well go over that, bro, as to why you took that, because I feel like people like when we even if we don't give the exact markup or the candle, like if we say, yo, look at this 5 minute candle, like I mean, a lot of our students in the premium did get the memo and was like, yo, I'm entering.
Yeah,
Like,
because they know how they watch us do it every day.
yeah,
For me, it's just about, again, for me, it's more about the case study. Like, I mean, like, I hope people took the trade as well, but it's like that's irrelevant. Is if I could just train you to see what I see in those moments, then that's all I care about. I can mean, like I tell you guys all the time, like my job with the premium is like, yeah, I'll give you guys all my trade alerts, I'll give you guys all my signals. That's like really never my goals. Like, because again, I say it and I say it, I'll say continue to say it. One day I'm just not gonna be here. Right. One day, like 2 years down the road, it's not going to be any, again, I wouldn't do that in the first year company launch, but 2 years down the road, I will like eventually announce just like, yeah, I'm just kind of like done. This is my end date. And it's like I want to pour myself into as many people as I can. So it's like for me, it's really just about them identifying it. It's like if you can learn to identify this stuff in the moment and see exactly why I'm taking it, exactly what the parameters are, and exactly how I manage it, that's like a win at the end of my day. There's a lot of comments in the chat about the Japanese savings. But yeah, you guys are all right on point. And then Brother Joseph, we were talking about the Japanese culture, not the Chinese culture. Obviously, the Chinese do have their hands in everyone's pockets. That's what the CCP does. That's how they run. Everything is everything. Everything is theirs. They may let you hold on to it for a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's theirs. Is at least how their system could work. That doesn't mean it's always like that. It is a majority of the time, but yeah, we're talking about like mostly in Japan when we were having that discussion. Thanks you guys for the value tonight. As a swing trader, should you stick to one pair or have a watch list? If you're a swing trader, you should probably have a watch list because I'll tell you why. If you only have one pair, you're going to be more likely to force setups because less setups will be coming across your desk. And when you're sitting there and like things are just not right, like the question is like, can you sit there for 5 days, 10 days while something sets up in the long run? Right? That would be the question. If you can, then yeah, trade one thing. I could tell you I spent months just trading oil and gold, and it led to a lot of days where like I really had to learn how to sit on my hands because it was like every day I was trying to find a trade because there was nothing else to look at. So it's like either this gave me something or I was gonna get nothing, and I couldn't cope with the idea of like not taking a trade. Even sometimes I'm still like that. Like, I love to push the button. I know I do. That's a if it's a flaw, it's a flaw I'm aware about. But I love to push the button. So like if that's you, you need a broader watch list because when you're swing trading, things are not going to set up every single day and maybe not even every week. So it's like if you're a scalper, yeah, you probably want to focus on like one or two things. If you're intraday, yeah, one or two, three things. But if you're a swing trader, you want to have your eyes on more opportunities because, it's more rare that an opportunity actually comes your way.
Yeah.
But that's actually a good question because not a lot of people have the awareness to appropriately do that. And then again, if Abel or anybody has a different thought on that too, you guys more than happy to chime in.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. You're 100% right with that aspect. But look at gold. Gold is pushing. Dollar.
Yeah, we should have just, like I said before, we should have just should have just bought it.
Yeah, dollar just took out these lows.
the dollar, man, they didn't give no entry. Maybe we'll get one tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, dollar just took out those lows.
Yeah, that's no surprise. Again, like
EU is pushing.
good. Just means all my trades from last week. are running.
EU is looking nice.
Yeah, we up about 140 pips on EU. Oh no, I'm sorry. It just updated. We're up like 170 pips on EU.
Let's see. Indices is
And
rebounding.
about 70, or well, I don't, well, I'm up about 70 points on gold, or 700 pips. I feel like at this point with gold, I'm gonna have to switch to points. I don't really ever use pips for, it's like annoying. It's annoying saying 700 pips. Especially when it's not that big of a move. It's like a $70 move. It's like, it's not that crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, what's your plan for UCAD this week, bro?
So for the first beginning of the week, I am on the bearish side of UCAD. I am going to be playing the retest of that. Perfect, right there. I am going to be playing the retest of that, and possibly even the retest of that continuation block we just made. I am, leaning a lot more towards the bearish side to begin the week. Um, I don't really see any buying opportunities for now. I would just have to wait and see if CPI kind of gives us something different. But I do believe that finally the bears are in play on USD CAD. Um, I was kind of screaming that I'm long term bearish on this thing, and I will continue to follow that idea until I do get another potential bullish entry. So, for now, I am leaning towards the bearish side to begin the week. I do feel like that little reaccumulation we had probably just gonna get wiped soon. So, yeah, I'm gonna lean towards the bearish side. Hopefully, honestly, truthfully, I wanted that entry at the 1 hour candle that we marked, but I feel like it's just the market open just continued the entries from Friday, so that's all right. We will get another entry sometime later on this week.
Yeah, we might have to let stuff run until CPI, honestly.
Yeah, that's why I'm chilling.
Because markets like even in this exact moment, like that USD CAD. I mean, that's an hour candle. I don't even know why are you so volatile right now, USD CAD?
Yeah,
Hey, calm down, girl. Like, what's going on here?
I was saying 60 pips already.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, again, like we're getting paid on continuations from last week, so be it. And that's usually what the beginning of the week is anyway, especially with the news this week. Just let stuff run. We'll find our entries during the live trade room. Sean says,
Just
can you go over oil? Seems to be ranging hard. Yeah, man, I tried to tell you that this is why I took this off my watch list. I'm gonna just hijack screen real quick.
yeah, go ahead.
This is why I took this off my watch list, guys. I told you guys like so long ago that if she wasn't gonna like do what we wanted to do way back then, like we were out of here. It's like we could have like played in all this noise for the past, 49 days or whatever it's been since we looked at this. But it's like why? Like there was just no reason to. It has been incredibly annoying with the swings. Again, like for me, I'm still waiting on like either I want to buy off like 69 or I want to sell off like 85. And like there's really been nothing inside of any of these ranges that had me feeling any particular way about which way it wants to go. So I agree. It's a really just ugly range. Is I just need it to resolve itself with either a UTAD or a spring, and once it does that, then we'll know. I'm not going to be in the business of guessing or caring which one it gives me. Um, because again, there's liquidity on both sides, and again, depending what CPI and all that comes out as, it might give me more direction on this. But this has been just like a nonsense show, and this is why I told you guys sometimes it's worth it just to take stuff off your watch list. Like I did this like literally a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I told you guys I'm just not gonna look at it for some weeks. And again, like I continuously look at it on every Sunday for you guys, and I say the same thing. Like there's nothing here that is attractive to me in order to take. I know Jude's been catching some nice plays off here. There's stuff to be had if you guys want to play it on an intraday level. But yeah, man, like I'm just not interested in trading this. Like there's so many better opportunities. Like again, I could find something on GJ or even on gold. Like gold's been a lot nicer in terms of what it's been producing. I can go take trades on Ethereum. Like they're just better things to be paying attention to than this, which is very clearly still resolving its phase B. It's like if we're gonna follow this in terms of like Wyckoff with the range, like this is clearly still just stuck in phase B. And until I have a reason to believe that a phase C is forming somewhere, I'm gonna just throw this away. I like to play the early range phase B stuff. Again, like you kind of see me doing that in the DXY here. It's like if this is early phase B stuff, like I'll play with it, but once we get to like this point, which is where like oil is, like it just gets annoying because you're just getting tight ranges, stupid little swipes. So it's like this is even like the last leg. Like if we hold off these levels down here, we start to play in a broader range. I'm gonna become less interested in this. I only like to play the beginning of a range and the end of a range. I don't like to play inside the middle here. So yeah, it's kind of where we're at. It's like the same thing with GJ. Remember when we threw away GJ? I'm like, let's throw this away. And then once they broke the highs, then we started looking at it again. Like, okay, cool, what's going on? So yeah, sometimes you guys gotta realize you gotta just throw away your pairs. It's not worth looking at them.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact. That is a fact, man.
Wally said, just seen news saying all SVB depositors will have access to their funds on Monday. Yeah, that's been floating around. That and the fact that you could expect all your money. I don't really trade USD CAD. Either do I. It's all good. Hey, listen, we all have our preferences. Let's see.
Somebody asked, "Do you actually trade the DXY, bro?" Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Will go ahead and
Really? Like you take trades on the DXY?
Oh no, I don't actually trade.
I think that's what they're asking. Like, do you actually push? Because what was that, Jay? Yeah, Jay's asking if you actually like push
I
buttons.
don't think anybody on here does that. I mean, you can. There are some brokers that do allow that. Do I suggest it? Nah, not really, because it's something that does tend to do a lot of random spikes, and
It ticks
I feel
around
like
a lot too. It might be. I would urge people to be careful on like the margin requirements for it and stuff like that. It's probably not worth trading. Like you're probably better off just trading like GU or USD CAD or EU.
yeah, those are my three main pairs: GU, USD CAD, and EU. So I mean, technically, yeah, I do trade the dollar, but instead of actually trading the pair DXY, I just you know correlate it to the EU, GU, and UCAD.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to. I've seen a few people take trades on the DXY. I've always asked myself like why, why would you feel the need to do that? But to each their own.
This is crazy how much volatility we're seeing to start the week, though. Gold is
How many what?
how much volatility we're seeing to start the week.
I mean, with the bank failure, there was a lot of weekend news, so
I mean,
Hey, I knew with the bank failure that Monday would be something
yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I would assume that a bank failure though will add more fear, which would cause the dollar to gain strength. That's how I would look at it, though. I don't know. I think the sell-off is literally just preparing. Now that we've seen, I'm definitely going to be leaning towards bullish side come news on Tuesday.
For CPI.
Yeah, I mean the way that it's looking, I think this is probably just enticing more sellers to enter the market.
But do you so what do you I mean what do you think what would you want to see out of the result then? Like would you because like for me personally, like I want to see it come out at like 0.3, 0.4,
Yeah.
where like we get like a spike to the upside, but it doesn't like hold maybe throughout the entire day. Is that what you're thinking, or you think like it'll buy nicely even past the result?
I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we come out at point 0.5 or above, to be honest with you. So that's where I'm leaning towards. I'm leaning towards actually coming out hotter to start off. But again, I'm going to play the actual release to see what does happen. But yeah, I'm leaning towards it coming out hotter, to be honest with you, on a month-to-month perspective. So we shall see. And I don't know. Technicals itself, man, is just, I think, is leading up towards or preparing itself for it to actually skyrocket the dollar. Like if we drop so aggressively that we make it towards that 102.5 by Tuesday, oh man.
Yeah, I'm going to expect a reaction off that.
Oh man.
We've been waiting on that for a while, but I do want. I want to trade into that. I wish it was giving me the opportunity to, like, to add more. Again, maybe we still get it later. That's what I'm saying. I want to see a bullish reaction from CPI because I wanted to bring us back to like these levels so we can get in more positions.
Yeah.
Because my thing is like EU, like I'm also bullish EU all week because I know the euro has rates, and I know that their CPI is still going to be. I mean, I hope their CPI remains bad, but if their CPI does start to dip, it's gonna be more annoying to try to play these EU along. So I'm kind of rooting for downfall over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still want to remain EU buys at least until we fill this wick at like the 108. Like this is like the main liquidity I'm looking at going and capturing from the buys that we're in. So
Yeah. As of right
and preferably even higher, but obviously this is gonna be we'll have to take out this area first. I mean, and even before that, we need to even hold above here because again now we are taking out highs. Granted, the volume into this break was pretty high. Obviously, Sunday volume is kind of low, but the break, the move is justified by the higher volume down here.
yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if we actually hold
I mean, look at the
above this
actual
into Monday trading.
like look at the month-to-month projections here for the euro compared to what actually happened last reading. So last reading they came out at negative 0.2%. Right now they're expecting it to come out at 0.8%. So that's a crazy jump in
Yeah,
month-to-month
that's nutty.
projections. So
That's
if
a
it,
full. That's a 4%.
yeah, so if it does come out as projected, then yeah, that's gonna go cause euro to gain a lot of strength in my opinion. That's crazy. That's a big jump. I didn't even know they came out last month negative. Interesting. It's gonna be an interesting week, family. It's gonna be a freaking interesting week, man. And if you guys are not in the Discord, then I highly advise you guys to get in the Discord as well, family. You know, even for those of you guys that are new to the stream, you know, go ahead and join the Discord. We do have a Discord where anybody can join, you know, whether you are a part of the premium or not. Obviously, if you are a part of the premium, you're able to see all of the premium access that you guys get, all the premium perks. But, you know, it's not necessary to be a part of the premium to join the Discord. So I'll actually go ahead and drop that link in the chat as well. I believe Kyle already has sent it, but let's go ahead and send it again. There we go. So Skag sent it out. All right, so definitely make sure you guys are in the Discord, family. You know, we are going to be obviously updating a lot of you guys throughout the rest of the week as to what is happening. I'm super excited for Tuesday. We will be live with the premium family to actually watch the news on Tuesday. We might actually go live a little bit earlier than normal. You know, obviously we usually go live at 8:30, but since news is going to come out pretty early in the morning, I want us to be ready and prepared for that, right? So I'll probably go live maybe 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock, so maybe 30 minutes to an hour earlier than normal, just so that we can go ahead and see how the markets are moving, and then we can make a decision as to what's happening as the news comes out and stuff, right? But besides that though, family, what else you guys got, man? Skags, Kyle, what else you guys got over there? Anything else you guys got over there?
Now there's a few questions in the chat. I think my thoughts on trading one or two pairs. Is it okay to explore? Yeah, make a watch list of 5-6 things and then pick your favorite two for the week. This is the way you should be doing. You shouldn't be just looking at 2 things. You should be looking at like at least 5 things. It doesn't mean you have to trade all 5 things each week. Just pick the ones that are, you know, the most ripe for opportunity and watch those. That's what I do. I have like a list of like 10 or 11 things, and then like each week, you know, I focus on like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
On an intraday scalp level, what should a gold stop loss or a gold stop loss or a good stop loss? Because honestly, it matters greatly. One, the volatility of the pair. Like there's no set answer for this. I can't tell you 10 because 10 pips on GJ and 10 pips on EU are 2 vastly different things.
Mm-hmm.
But you should have rules in your execution plan that lead to strict, you know, stop loss placement based off of whatever your rule may be. So if that's the case, and then you know your stop loss is always going to fluctuate. My stop loss is not the same on every trade. Some trades are 8 pips, some are 12, some are 18, some are 20, you know, some are 30. The pair on the screen right now is EU. I'm expecting bear for DXY until 102.77. Yeah, we're kind of on the same page.
Yo, you guys are hilarious, by the way, with Gum Champ or Rice Gum, whatever his name was.
I thought that was a typo too. I didn't even know what that person was talking about.
Nah, that was on Friday. We had a. It was the troll that I ended up getting on my stream.
Yeah, see, we have another troll in the chat shit too. I don't know.
Where?
The dude that just put the time to go and dig in. I don't even know what he just been saying mad random
Oh nah,
things.
shout out to you, Fuqua. Fuqua. You got a nice
No,
name.
you
Fuqua.
can't read what that actually says.
Fuqua.
I'll tell you later, kid. Don't worry. I understand what your name
I know
says.
what it says too.
He thinks he's creative.
I
Not
know.
a very good troll. Kind of funny though.
Say my
Say my
name and
name,
know
you know
my
my
name.
stream.
I know.
I love everybody that participates in the chat though. For real.
Yeah, I know. That's a fact, man.
It
Listen,
says invite invalid for the Discord. Oh, that's interesting.
I just sent it again, Nina. So try that one, Nina.
Yeah, try. There you go.
Um,
I might be using an old link.
but we did have mad fun, man. Like if you guys were on the stream on Friday, it was very fun, man. My guy Rice Gum, or Gum Clan, I think his name actually is. You know, he actually came up and did his thing. I'm not saying that I agree with how he trades. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But just having the balls to come on here and actually educate, or at least try to educate, man, was pretty dope. You know, so shout out to Mr. Rice Gum. I'm gonna keep on calling him Rice Gum. Forget that. All right, but family. Besides that, man, if you guys don't have any other questions, that's gonna be it for tonight. Again, please be active in the chats. You know, in the Discord. Ask questions if you guys have them. That's where we're gonna be at. That's where we always will be at. You know, so appreciate you guys. Love you guys. I'm not sure if the boys have anything else that they want to end it on. So if you guys do, let me know. Skag, Kyle, you guys got anything else you guys want to finish it up on?
Nah, man. I'll see them on all the calls this week. Mindset Mondays, 3 live trading calls, technical Tuesdays.
Oh man, we got the
We'll
boy
be with you
Skags
guys
back,
all week, fam.
and we got the boy Skags back for live trading.
Yeah.
Oh man, family, it's gonna be a crazy week, man. But family, we love you guys. We appreciate y'all. Thank you guys for jumping on with us, and we'll see you guys all in the Discord and throughout this week. Let's get it. All right, we are goody. Yeah, it's gonna be a